Yeah, I read that you had called graffiti the biggest art movement of our time.
Street art is the biggest art movement of our time, yes.
Can you tell us why you said that? What that means?
Well, it means that we have more people doing it. We have more territory than any movement in the entire world ever. We have hundreds of thousands of people in every corner of the world creating art, creating public art, creating art not necessarily with full permission, but nevertheless taking control of their environment, altering their common living areas, if you will, outdoors, into suit themselves. Why do people have to live with, dull, boring, or depressing areas when a little paint job, a little artwork can liven anyone's spirits? So people have seen and taken it upon themselves in their own hands to bring art outdoors to the public, for the public, done by the public. It isn't a commodity. It isn't a money-making thing. You can just do art for art's sake, just for the sake of creating and doing something beautiful and uplifting down your block. So street art is bigger than the Renaissance. It's bigger than pop art. It's bigger than any other art movement that you can mention. Everything was regional. Everything was localized. Maybe a few hundred or a few thousand people did it, but we have hundreds of thousands of young people, old people, people of all ages, of all economic backgrounds doing it. You don't have to go to school and get a degree and be bona fide as an artist or get a master's in anything. You get a little paint, a little courage, and out you go. And you can also create art and get yourself props and get yourself famous and glory, or not. Just beautify your neighborhood for your neighbors and your family. That's all.
You have an art dealer, Dirty Pilot, so there must be some. Yeah.
So that's one art dealer, yes. But yeah. I don't have an exclusiveness with anyone. I've never quite done that. I've managed to sell my own work and represent myself, and therefore keep a lot more of my money. My husband is my executive assistant, and I have 2 other young people that help me out as well. Nice. So it's a full-fledged business.
Absolutely, and you've built a team that I think really surrounds you and allows you to keep accomplishing, but also to have time to garden, which you deserve. Now, we have a question around, do you have a can in your collection that really is precious to you, that really stands out to you?
I'll show you one, sure. I think I have one. Okay. I have it. This can, is it backwards?
Yeah, but it says spray off.
The can actually says Lady Pink.
It says Lady Pink. Yeah.
It's a Lady Pink can from this. This is from the 1960s. So this is probably as old as I am. And I've never seen this before, ever.
Wow.
So somebody found it and sent it to me through a friend.
That
has got to be my most favorite, most precious can. And it's empty too, but at least, it says Lady Pink on it.
Oh my God.
Goodness. And by the cap on the top, then you see how old and dirty that is. So that is from the 1960s.
I found it. We're getting ready to do our first mural across from Broadway Junction, and we're going to be bringing youth into it as well. So this is the space. This is it's switched, but
okay.
You can't see. So this is the space, and so I'm really just thinking about the kids who are going to be part of it are not artists yet, because they may have never been told that they could be or believe that they could be. So I'm really thinking a lot about how do I guide them in it? How do I start the process? How do I ground them in what we're about to do before we start?
What age group are they?
They're early teenagers, so 14 to 16.
14 to 16. So I'm working with New Paltz High School right now, and we just had our first meeting. And in a couple of weeks, they'll be painting a wall. And this is just the art class in New Paltz High School. So these kids aren't artists per se. This is their art class. And art has got to suck virtually, because art is a hands-on kind of a thing. So now at the end of school, their teacher is stoked that they get to come out and paint the big handball court with us.
With you. Are there female taggers before you that you knew of that out on the scene? Because I know you're said to be the first, but were there others that you'd heard of?
Um, so they call me the first, but I'm certainly not. There was dozens and dozens of women through the 1970s. But when I first started, the only girls that were spoken about was Barbara 62 and Eva 62.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I would meet writers, they would always tell me of some girl that they used to know. And so, now there's a lot of other girls appearing, Charming and Rocky 184 and Sony, and all sorts of women are showing up now. And at one point I'd say I'd met them with one hand. That's the kind of girls I'd met from the 1970s. But now there's more and more of them emerging, realizing the value of the work that they did. Even though they were teenagers having fun, it has spawned a worldwide movement, and they are much valued, and I wish that more of them would emerge. I think even one of them, Barbara or Eva 62, has resurfaced recently, and that is awesome to see. And whenever I do meet any of them, I give them an instant hug and a kiss, and I'm thrilled to meet them, and then I treat them like gold and try to include them into everything that's going on and such. So but at the time when I started, there was no history, because the history is told by boys, and boys don't like to admit the girls kicked ass. And Barbara and Eva 62, I hear, got up than most guys. And guys don't want to admit that. So, got to pull that history out of them like pulling teeth. So I wish, they would give us more credit.
Right. And it looks like that's the truth for a lot of movements have been propelled by women and not really women. Is that as an artist who then is able to successfully translate your passion into your career, what are your other outlets? Do you have other hobbies outside of painting, outside of art, that allow you to kind of balance?
I do, I guess, gardening, planting. So there was that flower painting that you can see. So I have a vegetable garden.
Oh, amazing.
You can see some of that. And I live in the woods.
I love that. You deserve that.
And this is my little art studio.
Did you paint your art studio?
It came green.
Okay.
But my husband built it. He built it like 2 years ago. He put it together for me here on the grounds.
It's like I
have my own private art studio and gardening, and that's all I do. So for the last couple of weeks, all I've been doing is gardening. Planted my vegetable gardens and flower gardens, and manicured everything and taking care of it. It's just so relaxing to work with dirt and plants and growing things. And when I do flowers, I do an abundance of color, just the way I do my paintings. So I absolutely love planting and flowers and gardening. I have a lot of house plants, maybe almost 100 house plants. I have a lot.
You're kind of living the dream. With that being said, I think I've seen some of your pieces in person, and I am looking forward to seeing more mural pieces. Now, what is it like when you start to create a mural and working with multiple people? How do you manage a team when you're working on it?
So sometimes we get together with friends, and everyone has got their own spot, and everyone does their thing. And then sometimes I have to design the mural, and I got to draw the whole thing, and then I have to have people help me paint it. So you have to learn how to be a leader, learn how to communicate, learn how to delegate authority, and how to create your own thing, as well as paying attention to what like 5 other people are doing or something, and keeping them rolling and moving, and no idle hands, anybody standing there. So it takes a bit. So even though it's your vision and other folks are painting it and creating it, you have to learn to be able to communicate well so that they understand what needs to be. So people will let you know when you failed. So it's definitely scarier to put your work out in the street for everyone to criticize and comment and judge and whatever. So you have to be above that. You have to just let that roll off you, and just know that whatever it is that you're doing, as long as you love it and your friends and your close family love it. So
Yeah.
you keep going.
I love that. Thank you.
Because good heavens, if you're born with a gift or talent for visual arts or music or dance or anything, it's your duty to use it. So, you know, we have some of the purest graffiti writers that say, oh, you're a sellout, you're selling out, how dare you sell out graffiti movement. Is like, I'm sorry, I was born with an abundance of talent and I'm using it. So, you know, I make no excuses for that. How I learned it, you know, graffiti was just my source of education. It was boot camp for artists. It taught us how to create past the fear, despite the fear. You know, you put that aside, you just swallow it down and you keep on creating. Just the same way, you know, you have to create and meet a deadline. You're just working faster than you've ever worked and you meet that deadline. The same way with artwork. So that was my education. And from where I've moved on from then, I hope that it can be an inspiration to other young people that despite your beginnings, unorthodox education and all, you can become a success. And it just takes a lot of heart, a lot of courage, a lot of hard work, and you're there too.
Yeah. No, I definitely think you are. And above that, knocking on doors, you're also smashing ceilings.
I most always do a brush base on my paintings, my canvases. They are going to survive for centuries. I do an acrylic base and then I do a layer of spray paint on top, because spray paint hasn't been proven as an artist tool that is going to survive the centuries. You know, there's just starting to come out now with nice good acrylic paint for spray paint, but I don't put on such a heavy coat of spray paint. It's just a light coat. It's very brittle, doesn't last forever. So and I expect that my work that does sit in the Museum of Modern Art and the Whitney Museum and the Metropolitan Museum and many other museums will last for centuries, and they will be you know, teaching tools for young people. They already do. They use them in classrooms. They dissect my paintings and talk about my history and all of that. It's just mind blowing, because, you know, I'm just an artist going about my business, doing my thing.
Yeah, but you've done a whole lot more. So you have a recent master that you had created that was gonna go onto the Museum of Graffiti. And could you tell us a bit about the piece and the memories behind it?
This piece is titled TC5 in the Ghost Yard, and the Ghost Yard is in Upper Manhattan, and it's overlooking the Bronx, past a river. And the way to sneak into the train yard, we'd go around the back, around the rocks by the river, sneak in through a hole in the fence, and hide behind a pile of garbage for a while. And like any military troop, you send in a scout ahead to see how things are and if the coast is clear. And you can see inside there in one of the little trains, there is a little face and a little guy inside there saying the coast is clear, and the other 4 kids would be coming across. So that's what it's about. I mean, graffiti was invented by kids as young as 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and this is back in the late 60s. Right. Now, why were those kids not in their beds and out past midnight, sitting around in the train yards and painting things up? But that's what this art movement is attributed to, is to very, very young kids. Right.
Yeah. And kids who didn't have a lot of other spaces they could go to express themselves, or
it was mostly about having adventures and having fun. And that's what this is all about.
Any final words to those watching? Any final words of inspiration?
Final words of inspiration is, like I've mentioned, that street art is the world's biggest art movement. So, you know, our goal is nearly met of world domination. So keep going. Don't let anything stop you. If you need to get out there and paint something and create artwork and, you know, do a performance in the street because you feel like it, please just go ahead and do that. You don't need any reason why not to do it. Art is for art's sake. I mean, human culture, we are here to contribute to human culture, and we just got to do our best and keep trudging on.